In 1945, Byron Nelson won 11 consecutive PGA Tour events. 11 in a row. Tiger Woods' longest streak was 7. Nobody else in the modern era has come close to 5. Byron Nelson owns the most unbreakable record in professional golf, and almost nobody talks about him. Here's the thing about records. Some are impressive, some are dominant, and some exist in a category so far beyond human reach that we've essentially stopped trying. Nelson's streak isn't just a record, it's a mathematical impossibility dressed up as history. But how did a soft-spoken Texan from the Depression era do something that Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and every great player since couldn't touch? And why did he walk away from the game at 34 years old, right when he should have been collecting trophies by the armful? The answer tells you everything about Byron Nelson and everything about what we've lost in modern golf. Nelson was born in 1912 in Waxahachie, Texas, the same year as Ben Hogan, the same year as Sam Snead. Golf historians call them the Holy Trinity. 3 legends born in the same 12-month window who would reshape the sport forever. But here's the crazy part. Nelson and Hogan grew up 10 miles apart. They caddied at the same club as teenagers. They competed against each other before either had a dollar to their name. 2 Future Hall. Same dusty Texas fairways. Same Depression-era hunger. Golf does not produce coincidences like that anymore. Nelson turned professional in 1932, right when America was on its knees. Prize money was a joke. Travel was brutal. Most tour players could not afford hotels and slept in their cars between events. This was not the glamorous PGA Tour of private jets and 8-figure endorsement deals. This was survival golf. But Nelson had something nobody else did, a swing so mechanically perfect that 50 years later, the USGA would name their ball testing robot after him, the Iron Byron. Think about that. When scientists needed a machine to replicate the ideal golf swing, consistent, repeatable, flawless, they modeled it after a man born before the First World War ended. His tempo was metronome steady. His ball striking was surgical. And unlike the handsy, wristy swings of his era, Nelson pioneered a leg-driven body rotation method that became the blueprint for modern technique. He was playing 21st century golf in the 1940s. The rivalry with Hogan defined his early career. In 1940, both men applied for the head professional position at Inverness Club in Toledo. Prestigious job. Steady paycheck. The kind of security that Depression-era kids dreamed about. Nelson got it. Hogan did not. Some historians believe that rejection lit a fire in Hogan that burned for the rest of his career. But Nelson? He just kept winning. Then came 1945, the year that changed everything, the year that broke golf's understanding of what was possible. Nelson entered 31 tournaments that season. He won 18 of them. 18. He finished second in 7 others. Do the math. That is 25 top 2 finishes in 31 starts. He won more than half the events he entered, and he nearly won another quarter. But the 11 straight victories are what still echo through history. It started at the Miami 4-ball in March and did not stop until the Canadian Open in August. 11 consecutive tournaments, different courses, different conditions, different pressure. Same result. Nelson lifting the trophy again and again and again. What people forget is this was not some watered-down wartime field. Yes, some players were serving overseas, but Snead played. Hogan played. The competition was real, and Nelson made them all look helpless. Here's what makes the streak truly insane. During those 11 wins, Nelson's average margin of victory was more than 6 strokes. He was not grinding out one-shot wins on the 72nd hole. He was dismantling fields by Wednesday and cruising to the finish. Nelson's scoring average for the entire 1945 season was 68.33. Adjusted for today's course conditions and equipment advantages, statisticians estimate that is equivalent to averaging around 66 on the modern tour. Nobody does that. Not Tiger in his prime, not Rory, not Scottie Scheffler, nobody. The most telling stat is this. Nelson recorded 113 consecutive top 20 finishes across his career. In today's game, we celebrate players for making cuts, but the cut line back then did not guarantee a paycheck. You had to finish in the top 20 to earn a single dollar. Nelson did that in a row. He essentially never had a bad week for years. Sam Snead, who competed against Nelson for 2 decades, later admitted what everyone knew. When Byron was on, you were playing for second place. No mystery, no drama, just inevitability. But here's where the story takes its strangest turn. In 1946, Byron Nelson retired. He was 34 years old, reigning Player of the Year, the most dominant force golf had ever seen. And he walked away. Not because of injury, not because of scandal, not because he had lost his edge. He was simply tired, burned out, done. Nelson had grown up poor. He had spent 15 years living out of suitcases, chasing prize money that barely covered expenses. And somewhere along the way, he had decided that enough was enough. He bought a ranch in Roanoke, Texas, and spent the next 50 years raising cattle, teaching the occasional golf clinic, and living the quiet life he had always wanted. The golf world was stunned. Here was a man who could have padded his legacy for another decade, who could have chased Nicklaus's major record before Nicklaus was even born, who had the swing, the mind, and the results to go down as the undisputed greatest of all time. And he chose cows over trophies. More importantly, he never looked back. In interviews decades later, Nelson expressed zero regret. He had proven everything he needed to prove. The records were there for anyone who cared to look. He didn't need validation, he didn't need more. That kind of peace is almost unimaginable in modern sports. Today's athletes chase legacies until their bodies fail. They come back from retirement 3 times. They need one more ring, one more trophy, one more moment in the spotlight. Nelson needed none of it. He was the Lord Byron of golf. The Iron Man with the velvet swing, the gentleman champion who treated competitors like friends and galleries like family. He never threw a club, never berated a caddy, never made excuses. He just won. And then he stopped. The record still stands, 11 straight, 18 wins in a single season, 113 consecutive top 20 finishes. Numbers so absurd they feel like typos. Tiger couldn't touch them. Jack couldn't touch them. And with today's deeper fields, global schedules, and relentless competition, nobody ever will. Byron Nelson didn't just set records. He set boundaries. Permanent markers of excellence that remind us how good the very best can be and how far short everyone else falls. Do you think Nelson's streak will ever be broken? Or is 11 straight the forever number? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us which golf legend you want us to cover next. Hit subscribe so you never miss another story. This is where legends live.